All right, Pope Francis is claiming some American conservatives in the Catholic Church for what he calls going backwards. The pontiff claims conservatives have lost sight of the Catholic Church's goals. This is a new reporting. The Pope cautioned adhering rigidly to conservative principles, saying in part, backwardness is useless, and they must understand that there is a correct evolution in the understanding of questions of faith and morals. Emily, I'm trying to figure out what is he saying that political ideology is replacing faith? Is he saying that people aren't understanding the evolution of faith? I can't figure it out.
He's saying, I mean, I'm not Catholic, so speaking for Catholics, my conservative Catholic friends don't want to think that what the Pope is saying doesn't represent them and doesn't represent them, and he's way too liberal. So that they're fighting among each other. It's a little strange to me, though, because during the pandemic, everyone knows church attendance went way down, except for the Catholics. They stayed open. Their church is open and their attendance is good. So it's a strange time for me to see American Catholics and the Pope fighting each other publicly when they're actually the ones leading in America. They're the ones who have the best attendance and they've survived the pandemic best, while all churches' attendance has gone down.
Let me ask you sort of a larger question, guys, right? That the institutions that sort of we've all believed in for a long time and have been part of sort of cultural touchstones in America, right? Whether it be the church, whether it be sports teams, whether it be sort of interactions in neighborhoods where people would go and knock on doors and be with each other. All of those went down during the pandemic, but they were on the decline, slowly, then very quickly. Has politics and ideology sort of replaced all of these other parts of American life?
I think what has happened is religion and faith has been weaponized in our political discourse. I'm a person of faith. I think Democrats often aren't comfortable talking about their faith. But look, my faith guides my life. It is an important principle in how I make my decisions. And I think that Democrats don't do enough in talking about faith and how that affects their decision-making, how that affects their policy, how that affects who they are. And I think Republicans have been really good at monopolizing religion in a way that Democrats haven't been able to push that message.
Reasons for leaving previous religious affiliations: stop believing in religious teachings, 56%. Negative religious teachings about treatment of LGBTQ plus people, 30%. Family was never that religious growing up, 30%. Church or congregation became too political, only 17%. Bill, this feels like it would be unhelpful for Republicans with swing voters.
Look, I think that faith does play an important part of politics, especially Republican politics. I don't disagree with that at all. But as a practicing Catholic, I think this is an important conversation happening within the church, because there's been a lot of reforms that have been put forward, but there's a very significant segment of the Catholic population in America that do want to cling to the eternal truths that they believe that the church has stood for over time. This is something that's going to continue to evolve. Anybody who has studied the history of the Catholic Church understands that the institutions of the church, including the papacy, has evolved over time as civilization has changed. And I think this conversation is going to continue. I do believe that there is going to be a conservative revival within this, where there's the Latin Mass. Opus Dei has become very popular in some segments of the Catholic faith. But I do believe that there are some efforts to make Catholicism more accessible to the general population at large, so that it brings in some of the local, not beliefs, but kind of customs to help make it more familiar and accessible.
Modernizing it.
Very quickly, I'm a practicing Catholic, but it's up to the Pope, right? He's a Jesuit from the Jesuit order. They're the social activists in the Catholic Church. So his focus on social justice and this political ideology, that's really what he's talking about, has got to be taken into account, because it ebbs and flows based on the leadership in the church.
And the one thing that the Jesuit order has done very well is education.
Yeah.
And I think that the way to expand the Catholic faith, if it's going to happen, is going to be through the education process, through the Jesuit schools and the other Catholics.
Especially in cities.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.